Good afternoon, this is Lucky Lynx. The fourth video on spirit communication is coming up right after this.
When people attack you and your character or your looks or whatever it is, your response can inspire others. Fight over what the truth is.
All right, guys, as promised, this is spirit communication video number 4. Now, this is a little subtle, and it's something I think has to be said, and it kind of builds on the last few videos I've been doing for the last week or so that they've been building up. I talked a little bit about recognizing the natural world as part of the spirit world. I talked about being honest with yourself in that video called Turning Dung into Stars. I talked about some other things that were sort of practical about asking yourself, well, you know, am I really being honest about where I'm at? And continuing with that idea of being honest about who you are and where you're at, I want to tell you guys something about, it was a very strange phenomena that started happening when I started this channel. I started to get a lot of emails from people who had some real genuine questions, and then I started to get some very interesting emails from people, and they sort of followed a similar pattern, these ones. These were people who wrote to tell me how powerful they were. They supposedly, according to them, have power, and I'm not joking. I really got these. Everything from people who claim that they could kill people or destroy people with their minds just by thinking about it, to people who swear they have a host of angels that bow down to them. They have all these powers to slay demons and to make the spirit world, you know, bend over for them. This magical ability where, you know, anything they do, they can enslave any kind of spiritual being that's out there. It goes on and on and on. And each one of them who writes to me to tell me how powerful they are starts to tell me all the things going wrong in their life in huge detail. Like all of this garbage going wrong in their life and expecting me to fix it. Now, I talked about in the other videos about value for value exchange and contracts and the law of equal exchanges, and that how you cannot give something without there being equal compensation for it. In every one of these cases, these individuals who think that they're all powerful, but at the same time have all these problems, don't believe in equal compensation, because they write me expecting me to solve their problems just because. They also don't believe in making that there are any, they're wishing for stuff from the spirit world, and then all the stuff's going wrong in their minds because of it, and stuff is messing with them, and they think that they are in control and have all power on it. We have to be honest about where we're at, and we have to be honest about our ability. And let me tell you where that starts, because that's the extreme. So I'm starting with that extreme. This is where it starts. And the reason I know this, because a lot of the people in these emails discuss the concepts that these new age things start people down the road of. When I first started out, before I started studying with my master, and I was, you know, doing readings and stuff, and I was taking workshops, and I was, you know, exploring through the new age and doing Reiki stuff and all that stuff, I noticed that there was a great deal of, for as inclusive and ethical as the new age people claim to be, I never found a more judgmental group of people in my life. From what I was seeing, it was nothing but judgment. In one breath, they're talking about how everything is dualism and one must rise above the dualism. and how we are enlightened and we are woke and we are all these terms that are out there now. But in the next breath, they say that, well, you can't eat this kind of food because this is bad, but you can't eat this kind, but you have to eat this kind of food. You can't shop at, you have to shop at this grocery store. You have to shop at this grocery store. You have to have this kind of diet. Only if you're enlightened, you eat this kind of diet. If you're not, you're not. All the while they're crowing about and preaching about dualism. This reminds me of Catholic priests preaching about love while they're molesting children. It's the same kind of hypocrisy, and it bothered me, and I didn't know why. There was this in one sense there were these people who wanted to put themselves in very painful situations where they started to punish themselves for something, and then in the next moment they were so pure, and that was the opposite. And I realized there was a great deal of masochism going on in this. People trying to purify themselves. Oh, well, I have to fast for 20 days. And it's like, why? What do you feel guilty about? Who could be more pure? I used to notice that in the workshops. Who could be more pure? Well, I had an angel. Well, I had an archangel. Well, I had it. Well, I had it and that. And then the first time I did trance channeling, I started channeling something that came in the room, and they all freaked out. But no one could deny that something was really going on. Well, they were all arguing over who was more, something came, and that's when I broke free. Because I said, no, they're judging me, and this is judgmental. And the being that I was actually channeling said some things to me and to them in that space, and I went, oh my God, I am. They're judging. They're judging people. They're not allowing people to be where they're at. And they're saying only this kind of person who has this kind of behaviors, who shops at this kind of store, can do this. Well, if that's the case, because you have a certain kind of income, and you have a certain kind of car, and you can shop at a certain kind of core, well, how do you explain that guy in Tibet living in a cave who can do things with reality, time, and space that you can't even consider, and he's got nothing? So I want to go back to that idea. Let's be honest about where we're at. Let's be honest about where we're at. Can I be honest? How much do I really have figured out? How much can I really do? Because here's the thing. If you're asking the spirit world for help, you can't do it all. So get off your high horse and stop talking about how powerful you are. If you have to ask the spirit world to intercede to find you love, then you don't have it all figured out. If you have to have the spirit world intercede to get you money, you don't have all figured out. So use some humility. Approach with respect and humility. And that's what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, respect and humility. There is a real lack of humility in the approach to this stuff. It is extremely judgmental. It sets the individual up as God, and I think that's dangerous. Because one loses their humility. One loses their humanity and their ability to say, I'm a human who makes mistakes. And I talked about that in that video on turning dung to diamonds. If you can't say, these are my weaknesses, you can't grow. If you can't acknowledge your frailties, if you can't acknowledge what doesn't work for you, if you can't acknowledge you're not there yet, you're never going to really get there. There are a lot of people who are setting themselves up as teachers who don't have half the things figured out that they say they do. Which is why I've been constant in repeating the fact that I am not an enlightened being. I have not reached that stage in my practice that allows me the freedom to be able to continue to say, all right, I'm going to continue to practice, I'm going to continue to do what I do on this road towards my goals. But when people set themselves up as all-powerful or all pure, because they've got the pure path with all the purity, their path is the better one, it's the purest, because they're already woke. I look at it this way. Are you actually developing compassion? Are you actually showing abilities? Are you actually showing powers? Are you actually showing calm? Are you actually showing all of those things? That shows on a person who actually does do these things in practice. Do you glow? Can you see it in their eyes? For those of you who have been judged by the New Age, I know what it feels like. For those of you who have been judged by religions, I know what that feels like too. For those of you who felt like in this life you really wanted to find something deeper, ask some questions and figure things out, and have people try to shove their superficial values on you, or their judgments, or their garbage, and they wanted to push you down because they wanted you to bow to them as the gods or the representative of God. I know how you feel. Good news for you. If you guys can be humble enough to admit, you know what, I don't have it all figured out, you got a chance to really figure something out. And you are much closer to compassion than those other people who've set themselves up on top and who've never really asked themselves any real, genuine questions. I'm lucky, Lynx. As always, I'm wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do. If you would like to get some good fortune by taking my beginner tarot class, it starts in July. I will be approaching it as from the storytelling perspective. These are the characters in your life. This is the story of your life, and this is how the story of your life is ordered. This is where the story's headed. This is how to change the story if you'd like to. I'd love to have you in the class. People are already signed up. I got an intermediate to advanced class, which will help you connect more deeply to your intuition. If you'd like to take that one, you can contact me. I got one on Mexican Loteria. I got one on crystal ball scrying. I got one on playing cards, and I got 2 on Lenormand. One on basic Lenormand, one on the Grand Tableau. I think that's it. I got 7 of them going right now. So if you'd like to take any of those classes, 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. Also, if you would like to get a reading, I'd love to do a reading for you, 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. And for all of those of you who would like to donate because you like these videos and you like to see them coming and you like to help, I put my Venmo and my PayPal in the thing below. You guys have a fantastic weekend. We're almost to the weekend. Remember, acknowledging where you're at, a little bit of humility, not thinking you've already got it all figured out. You're more likely to get help then. When we think we all got it figured out, no one wants to help us. If you want help from that other world, well then, maybe it's time to acknowledge that you don't have it all figured out.